Hi everyone, Go here with a raid build video that I hope will help out a lot of people. So the question gets asked a lot when you're talking about raids is like, what's a raid ready build? So the answer is usually a damage build, but there might be a few things different than this raid build that are different than your damage build. But if you're farming damage pieces, then you probably have most of the pieces already. So first thing first, let's look at the weapons. So this is my M1A. There are many like it, but this one is mine. so you always want a good roll. So mine has damage to armor, which is good. You could also do damage to target out of cover. You want these two to be high. And also, I got Boomerang, so critical hits have a 50% chance to return the bullet to the magazine. If a bullet is returned to the magazine, the next shot has 40% increased damage. So for an M1A, this is a really good talent to have. And then there's also the Baker's Dozen that has another talent that you can't change, and that one would work too. And then my secondary weapon is the Bullet King. So the reason I use the Bullet King is because there's a lot of hard to kill stuff in the game that with other weapons you might have to reload, but with the Bullet King you don't have to reload, and it also replenishes ammo to your teammates. And so that's the reason I use it is shooting the Razorback, shooting bosses, things that you might have to reload during while you shoot. But I use the M1A to clear ads and shoot Boomer in the head and that kind of stuff. And then the other weapons you can use, if you don't have uh, the Bullet King or a good M1, then another thing that works really, really well that I've seen a lot of people use is two machine guns. And the two machine guns we're talking about is the infantry MG5 here that has really high weapon damage and really high RPMs, and then you use the gunner specialization that gives you a 100 round magazine with this weapon. And my role could be better, but the most important thing for the infantry MG5, because it has a small magazine and high rate of fire, you want to have fast hands. So critical hits add a stack of 4% reload speed bonus. Max stack is 40. So as long as you get 40 crits out of 100 bullets, which is so you don't want to miss very much. It reloads snappy quick, really quick, almost as fast as like an assault rifle or faster. So depending on how many stacks you get. So trust me, this is a nice infantry MG5 is a nice light machine gun to have. And then for your secondary weapon uh, is the Negev is like with steady handed is like a poor man's Bullet King, because if you look at steady handed here, hits grant a stack of 1% accuracy and stability. At 100 stacks, it consumes them to refill the magazine. So that means that as long as you're hitting 100 out of 200, so as long as you're hitting half your shots, you don't have to reload. And trust me, like if you can't hit half your shots in a 200 round magazine, get the fuck out of here. So other weapons you can use if you don't want to do two MGs, like you don't want to do the gunner class, I would recommend the Negev for bosses and the Razorback. And then there's my first choice would be the Police MK17, which has really good balance between rate of fire and damage. And this shoot, you could pull the trigger as fast as it can fire, and the bullets are always going in the same place. It's awesome. And mine's got damage target out of cover, and then boomerang again, which is a really really nice rifle talent. And then there's also the P416 or the M4 or other um, assault rifles that you might like the Mark 16 that work really good too. And this one's got damage to armor on it, but you can do damage to target out of cover. And then you want to have strained on it. So you gain 10% critical hit damage every zero point 0.5 seconds you're firing. Stacks up to 5 times. So this would give you like 50% towards the end of the magazine of critical hit damage. So that covers most of the weapons that I see in the raid, other than the Eagle Bearer here. And if you want to pause it and check out the talents on the Eagle Bearer, do so now. And then check out my roll. Is really nice. I rolled this a few times and I really, really like this roll. So this is kind of like what you're shooting for. If you gotta skimp anywhere, I'd skimp on the health damage. And yeah, so that covers the weapons. And then the specializations, I mentioned the gunner class if you're doing two MGs and you're just clearing ads. If you're also just clearing ads, another good one is the technician. So that would give you more damage to the black tusk dogs and stuff like that. And then, but you always want to run a concussion grenade because there's a room with a key in it that you need a concussion grenade to open. Also, you need it for the Razorback. There's a panel that opens up on the Razorback, two of them, and you need to shoot it with a crossbow, or it takes a lot of damage with your weapon, and then you got to throw a concussion grenade in there, and that lets you progress to the next stage. And you're gonna have to do that a few times. And then to open the panel faster, you could do the survivalist specialization that comes with the crossbow, and that is really nice. You switch to the crossbow, open up the panel really fast, and then throw a grenade in there. So that covers the specializations, the three specializations that you want to use. And then I've never been on a raid where they don't want you to have a revive hive. It's really important. There's 8 of you, and you gotta have a revive hive. And then on my secondary skill here, I have the armor repair drone, but that's just for the first room and the boomer encounter. Other than that, every raid is a little different, so you got to talk to your raid leader on what you want to do with that. Okay, there's a lot of different strategies, and they all involve skills, and you don't necessarily want to do the fixer drone throughout the whole thing. So now let's look at the gear. Three-piece Providence is pretty standard for a raid build, and that's because you got headshot damage, and a lot of the bosses you're just shooting in the head over and over until they drop. So um, a little bit of headshot damage is pretty good, and then it also gives you critical hit chance and critical hit damage. And in all three of the mod slots, I've got crit damage, except for the backpack here, because I got critical hit damage on the Fox's Prayer. And yeah, if you're running a rifle and the machine gun, then you definitely want to get the Fox's Prayer knee pads and the Contractor's gloves. And you can see here what they do. One's damage to armor, one's damage to target out of cover. And then I got a piece of Grupo Sombra here. that gives me 15% critical hit damage. And then um, on my chest piece, I have Unbreakable. So that's pretty standard as well. There's a lot of bullets flying around, there's a lot of bad guys, and it's just a really good idea to have Unbreakable. But if you but sometimes people run Glass Cannon or other things on their chest piece to give them damage. And if you have a lot of people that want to do that, then I would suggest one of you at least running the tardigrade system, which is like giving Unbreakable pretty much to your entire team, and that's great. So if one person runs that, then that's a good idea. Even if a lot of people are running Unbreakable. But the person that is doing that, I would recommend being either a healer or have really good rolls on all their other pieces like I do. It's because I got max weapon damage on all of the other pieces, and crit chance, crit damage, damage to armor, damage to target out of cover. So I can run um, the tardigrade system and still take out ads pretty good. So then on the backpacks, we got two talents here. The first choice that people ask for to have is Vigilance. So this increases total weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables this buff for 4 seconds. So there's a lot of times when you're shooting bosses, and there's a lot of times when you're shooting the Razorback, that you're not taking any damage at all if you're doing it right. So this is a really good talent to have. Another talent um, for the first few encounters is Composure. So while in cover, increases total weapon damage by 15%. So that would work too for if you wanted to switch, or if you just want to use Vigilance. That would work really well. That covers the backpack talents. And that's pretty much the build. So you gotta. So hopefully I've explained all the different options that you can use. This is just what I've seen in raids, and what the raid leaders ask for, and that kind of stuff, and what I have experience with. This, see, I do have the Eagle Bear, and this is still what I use, the Bullet King and the M1A. So, but after a few raids, maybe you'll do your own thing, and I would really like that. So I will see you guys next time in another video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And I also have a Discord that I'll leave a link in the description to. We have about 200 PC members. Not all of them do the division, but we're looking for more people that play. So I'll see you guys in the next video.